Yeah. Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here. No, we won't
Oh,
start that way.
no, the video would be taken down quickly.
Why
Copyright
did it
infringement.
sound? Did it sound too accurate?
I wouldn't go that far.
Ooh, you're playing Jim Henson content right there. No, it's just an impressionist. Hey ho, hey all, hey ho, Heidi ho. Good now, wherever you are. Anyway, let's get on with it. Still haven't fixed that. So ready and swap. There we go. Just to have your head turning. For all those in the Australasian area right now at this time of the morning, I'm sorry that probably blew your mind. And for podcast listeners, we're still having fun with scenes. But welcome to the 365 Message Center show. We haven't said this for a little while. We help you plan for change, prevent or fix, and stay informed. Are you
We do.
informed, everyone in the chat room?
Well,
I'll
they're
wait
not
for your
informed because
reply in 30 seconds.
we haven't gone through all the messages, so they're
Will we
not.
make it through them today, man?
I don't know. I think we probably need to, dive right in and
Just
get to it
start
because,
on it, yeah, because there's
and
about
this
20 of
this
them.
is kind of what we've been experiencing, a lot lately is a lot of messages, a lot of updates going on, and I think that actually increases the need for our show, where we're trying. The point of the whole show is not to demonstrate what's coming in your tenant. It is to help you understand which messages you need to be paying attention to as those features rolled out, helping your members of your organization plan for that change. How do we adjust to the changes that are coming? So let's
Yep,
jump into it.
let's do it. Yeah. First message of an updated feature generally available SharePoint and OneDrive support for sensitivity labels with encryption. That's the key part there. We have had
Right.
sensitivity labels for a while, but MC212009 delivers a feature which lets you get some of that functionality back with SharePoint and OneDrive when you add encryption via labels. What happened
Yeah.
beforehand?
Well, this is big in that you want to make sure that not only is the content encrypted, but you can find it, and making sure that it can be indexed appropriately and all that. So I think for being able to apply sensitivity labels, the system has to know what the content is. But if you encrypt it and the system can't see what it is, it can't apply labels, right? I mean, that's so we need full text search and everything. So that's what this update's all about. Making sure that just letting everyone know it's now available in the tenant and it's fixed.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, some of those superpowers that it talks about that you get back are really things that we use SharePoint for. You know, being able to co-author and um, search, delve. Good to have them back. Anyway, good to see this feature. Keeping it moving. We do have that series of updates that talk about slight service adjustments as we're all using Microsoft 365. And the latest one, it's almost like an overlapping one. Awareness of 365 feature updates, MC207439. I don't think the number changes each time, but the update is that they're referring to the stream update. Separate update, but the update is that they're removing that face people
Yeah, and we
timeline
we
thing.
talked about that. Yeah, this is just we're rolling it into the feature adjustments announcement. Go
Yep.
back and listen to the show last week where we tell you why this is. Um, well, there's a strong word I was going to use. It's a bit backwards and maybe silly that this is going on, but go back and listen to my full report, our full report on this whole stream people timeline.
And it'd be like stopping the show because nobody watches it, but the reason they're not watching it is because we're not running it.
Right. It's because we took a month-long vacation and then going back and saying, "Well, nobody's
Look,
watched the show,
nobody
new
watched it for a
shows in
month.
this
Let's
month."
let's forget it right now. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great while it lasted. No, we've got far too much support there in the room there from friends and family. Next update. The updated update, feature update. We get a few of these, restricting forms-based authentication in Office apps. It's MC203731, not much to say, just that on the 5th of May, there's a lot of rhyming there, that they are delaying some of the deployment to reduce the amount of change flowing into the services. And that's quite interesting. So Microsoft 365 itself is wanting to reduce the amount of change flowing into the services. Good explanation.
Yep. Right. So we see this from time to time, and I think there's actually a couple of these this week, but yes. It is making sure that you stay informed about planning for change. So, hey, this is like a double whammy.
Yeah. We planned this, but we now plan to just put that on hold for a bit because you're dealing with a lot of change right now. Thank you. Mm-hmm. But this is the one that I thought was our first one. So when you look at the description of the episode and the way that I usually spit these things out, I think this is part of my reflection here, is that we're getting so many updates and there's some conflict around what we think is actually being marked as unread or updated as an update, that it's hard to see what is actually changing. And so this is why I thought this was our first one.
Yeah, right, because the previous ones, there was mixed messages there because they were updated, but they were new. And rather than being updated, like I think one of them is the SharePoint Designer feature was updated, but it's not bold, meaning unread. It stayed red. And you can kind of look at this and go, if you can look at the ID for the update and see that it's an older one, and that would signify, hey, this is an older one that is actually updated, versus a one that says update like this one, which is feature updates, but it says update, but it's new, so it's bold. You haven't read it yet, with an ID that is old versus one that's new. So just pay attention to the IDs. That's for right now. I don't think that's the intended way it's supposed to work, but it is working that way. That old items that are updated are showing up as new with an old ID.
Yep. Look for the word update and updated in close proximity, and maybe something at the top of the message saying May the 5th update. Mm-hmm. Anyway, back to this update.
Yes, lots of updates.
It's a new feature, new layout for the site footer, MC 212096. We're seeing, what is it, like a 3-4 column menu thing like you would normally see at the bottom of a blog.
Yeah.
It's on the bottom of communication sites, an extended layout feature, and an enhanced experience for viewers to provide navigational control for site authors. Yeah, looks good. You can turn it on per site.
No, it's tenant wide.
Tenant wide? Mm-hmm. Just on.
Well, okay. I think it's rolling out to it's rolling out to organizations that are targeted release for the entire organization instead of targeted release for individual people. Sorry about that, but that's how they're rolling out. That's when I said tenant wide. The new layout option in the footer is going to be per site, right? When you go to the change the look panel, you'll be able to select that. It's going to be simple versus extended, and so per site you'll be able to select that.
Got it. And then it's much like all our other menus that you go down and click the button to change the items, and you'll get a easy way to change that up.
Yeah.
Text and URLs and whatever.
It's frankly, the simple one is that. It's very, very simple. And so if you're wanting any kind of headers or different types of views, showing what we're showing here in the message with kind of a block footer, then you're going to want to extend it.
Yep. All right. Next one. Should have a few people in the chat room a little excited. Hey, Joanne. No, records management. Microsoft 365 Records Management is now GA. That's MC 212117, and it's within the Microsoft 365 Compliance Center now. They don't have a lot of text on this one, but And there
No.
wasn't like a whole lot of fanfare, but records management's a big deal, and I think it's something that we sometimes hear people like Al and others in this space say, it's kind of records management, but not really. Have Microsoft 365 lifted their game now? They can claim that?
I think it's the start of it. Yeah. I think this is my opinion is this is the start of being able to say, hey, we have a solution that we're building upon, and it's already got great functionality, but we're going to make it even better. So I think one thing that in this message that cracked me up was this new solution is the recommended and forward-looking approach to managing records in Microsoft 365. I'm surprised they didn't throw in Achieve More and North Star and a bunch of other phrases in there. We would have won buzzword bingo, in just one message. But anyway, so this is, I think, to me, it's kind of, while we've had records management, this Microsoft 365 records management, I think, is a good step in saying what you were just talking about of having this, having a good solution, overall solution.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And there is a related update coming, I think, for this a bit further along on the list. So it's GA, and here's our first feature that we're telling you about. So, yep, see that soon. Actually, 2 updates away. So the next one, updated awareness for SharePoint Designer. This is the one you're talking about, hey?
And
deprecation.
And let's just kind of run through it real quick. Although it does have, so update May 5th, they have totally reversed. So if you remember, the initial was, hey, we actually turned off yesterday. Not yesterday. Anyway, the message originally said, yesterday we turned off your ability to edit SharePoint Online forms with SharePoint Designer because it broke stuff. And then the update was, actually, we're investigating that it only may happen in certain circumstances. Now, this update, updated May 5th, is saying editing existing forms is now working as expected.
So now we're not going to deprecate the feature?
I guess. I mean, they didn't say that exactly, right?
Yeah.
But it is saying that if users attempted to edit those forms, these forms may not work as expected. So open a support ticket if that's it. And then nothing else is changed in the message. So it's very odd, but it seems that now they've reversed course, figured out what was wrong, and have fixed it.
Dean Gross has a question. Hey, Dean, how you doing? About whether people still have SharePoint Designer installed.
I do.
You do, yeah. And there are some that
on several
do.
machines.
Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, most of that's because I have to support others that are using it and that want solutions. But yes, there's lots of people that have it installed.
There you go. All right, well, moving along from that one. Here's our related records management thingo. Now that it's GA, 2 updates ago, records management proof of disposal for records rolling out EMC 212139. This is definitely all about that wheelhouse of what is records management, and certainly a key thing there. That here you go, I did destroy them. Here's the receipt. It's an important thing to have. So retention labels to declare that the items as records under disposition tab, so you can find them all there. And when's that rolling out? End of May.
End of May.
Yes.
So
getting used to some of this.
But, we
I'll let him finish.
really like to get more update. What happened?
Yeah, that's the fun part too. So you know how we've got these updates that come through and say we're adjusting for service performance. Do you find that in Teams calls more now that you get the and there's actually no point in talking because you've got to let them finish, otherwise they come back and go, sorry, what was that?
Oh, did that happen to me just now?
Yeah. And I described it in a roundabout kind of way. And I chewed up valuable time because we've got lots of things to get through. I always love when updates come through with PowerShell commands in the title, because that calls out exactly who the audience is for this message, even though it could be wider. CS Teams meeting policy. Just say it's a Teams meeting policy, my goodness sake. Update to manage access to past meetings. So that's MC 211972, starting mid-May 2020, changing the behavior of meeting policies, which allows users to create and schedule meetings. Again, it's like, yes, you've described a circle as a circle right now. It's a circular object. Now we get into the meat of it, that you'll be able to adjust allowing channel meetings or not, allowing meet now or not, private meet now, private meeting scheduling. So that's what the policy does. I think we're getting a frozen Daniel again. It's either that he's actually completely disgusted with what's been said. You're back, brother. You're back, I think.
I was just waiting and hoping.
Yeah,
so
back in 480p. That's okay. No facial recognition there, right? You know, that's partly why we're dialing all this stuff down. So anyway, there's your command. Gives you another policy to change and create, control these sorts of things. It's good. It's important. Just our comment would be that there's probably an easier way to talk about that update. SharePoint home sites. MC 212106. What's this all about, Daniel? Is it a big one?
It is kinda. I mean, it's a new functionality that Microsoft has demonstrated and touted for a while. Which is this creating or designating a communication site as a home site, meaning you saying this is our organization's home site. So this is most likely an intranet, you know, what you would call your intranet landing page. And you get special functionality with this when you do designate a home site or a communication site as a home site. It gets a couple superpowers of note. One is it is your authoritative news site for your organization. So that is saying, hey, you know, this news from this location is news from the organization, rather than, you know, someone having a department, you know, saying, oh, this is some news. And then the second is when you're using the mobile app to access SharePoint, for instance, you will get, when you click on home, then it'll actually take you to that SharePoint home site. So some nice features of, remember, it's not a different type of site. It's just a communication site designated as a home site.
Got it. I'm just checking. It looks like YouTube's having an absolute mare and dropping about 50% of the frames.
Yeah.
So that's all right. We've got a recording. We might just have to replace it and upload it separately. Anyways, we'll keep on with it. We've got so the other thing is that when you've got this home site designated, then it's also going to affect your mobile experience, and you'll have that home button there so that you can always go back to what is authoritative. Did you mention about it being also that it gets org-wide search from that level?
It does. I mentioned superpowers, and I mentioned two of those superpowers. That's the other is the org-wide search. Yeah, that's another one.
All right, moving along, we have Microsoft Authenticator app, Fullscreen account page for Android. I guess it's important, but really it's just talking about the Android experience that you get. Instead of going to that front page where you might have a couple of MFA accounts listed in Authenticator, and it would normally show the rolling code and a few other bits and pieces. You actually need to click through and see those sorts of details and use that to set various things up. So now it's on Android.
Yeah, and we've talked about that, right, in previous shows. So now it's on Android to be able to do that. So it rolled out iOS in previous month, 2 months ago or so, and so now it's in Android.
Yeah, so that was MC 212227. We have schedule page. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Schedule pages for news posts in SharePoint. EMC 212265. Just a essential feature when you're trying to manage news and you're doing this under significant workload if you're in internal comms, because that's your role, right? Or you are trying to be kind of organized as a division and you're trying to get your news out there. If you can write it up early, schedule it, and just have faith, hand on heart, that it's going to be posted at the time that you said it will, that's a huge feature, rather than trying to rush on in at the time that you need to post it and then click.
Yeah, the key here, I think, is making sure that we understand this is scheduling it so it's available to show up in the news web parts, right? So we're not relying on this to be a security measure, meaning when you create this, it's going to have that security already applied, but this is the kind of findability in your news web parts. We've been doing this for a while using third-party intranet solutions to where you could schedule news, and so it's nice that it's coming into into SharePoint online to be able to schedule that, because I think it is huge. Just like you said, not having to go, oh, I've got to, for people, I want to release something at 8 a.m. on Monday. That means at 7:30 a.m. I got to be on to craft it and be ready to click the button. Not having to do that is great.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So just look out for that button there. Scheduling button. What else do we need to know about it? You just expect to see the usual date and time, and it'll push it on out there.
That's right.
Oh, there was something about it though. It's something that you enable per site. No? Where did I read that? I might be getting mixed up with something else.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. It's disabled by default, so they'll have to. Site owners will have to enable it on their sites. Yep.
Cool. Pre-publish overview in SharePoint. MC212330. Oh, that's it. So it's kind of a partner announcement here, because when you go to publish a page, it's like it's prompting you or letting you know that here's some of the details that are going to be updated.
It is just kind of giving you an indication of what it's going to look like. And I actually think this is great, but it really is I feel like people are really confused as to when they're building pages, when they add images.
Oh yeah.
Why isn't that image showing up as the news image in the web part? And I find a lot of people are confused by that. And so this is a great way for you to see that, hey, the image is going to show up correctly. And not just image, but showing the title and everything. But it is nice to say, oh, this is what the thumbnail is going to be. Is this what you want it to? Then you need to go change the thumbnail and other details about it.
It's grabbing the first picture it comes across, isn't it? And that if you're using a picture in the header, it's going to grab that. If you're not, then it's going to grab that first picture further down. But yeah.
Right, but it may be that you. There's some things that in the way that you lay out your page, what is the first picture? Is it the first one as you're reading down the page, whether it's on the right or left hand side, or is it the first picture on the left hand? I think people just get kind of confused sometimes. And so this is a great way to say, here's what it's going, here's the image that's being used. Do you want to edit the details before you publish? So yeah. I think it's good.
Yep. And you can change it when you see it there too. So if you don't like it, change the thumbnail and other details. You can do that there on the spot. Just know that if it is picking up your header image, then you're changing that header image too, and you might have to go back and change where it's focusing on. Remember that focus button you can pull on down. Moving along, we have a new option to end meetings and appointments early in Outlook on the web. That's MC212343. Do you use this option in Outlook on desktop, Daniel?
I actually do not, and I should. However, this is one of those, I think, decisions that have to be made and honored on a team basis. I don't think as an individual you can just change this and then expect everyone to follow. Meaning, if you end a meeting early, 15 minutes, let's say, right? Or 10 minutes, whatever, in the calendar, but it shows up in people. They're going to see that it's not a 30-minute meeting, right? And it starts at 9 a.m. They're going to expect it to go to 10, no matter it doesn't matter what these settings are. So you're going to need, this is a change management process. This is not I'm going to change it in Outlook and everybody's going to follow it. Good luck with that. So I think it's number one, do this. Absolutely do this, especially this whole working from home bit, working remotely right now. A lot of people are, and it's easy to get in this trap of having meetings from 9 to 10 to 10 to 11, 11 to 12, and then by the end of the day, you've done nothing but sat in meetings. In person, there's this understanding, well, I got to be in this conference room and I got to go over this conference room on a different floor. Of course, there's travel time, and there's a bathroom maybe in between that I can stop at. So anyway, I say, yes, enable this, but you're going to have to work with your team on this to make sure, and at least get on the meeting and go, hey, everyone, trying this out. We're ending this meeting at this time, not at the top of the hour. We're doing, at least start doing that kind of thing, I think. That's my opinion. But first of all, I love this and you should be using it.
Doesn't it show when I set up a meeting that if I want it to go for 45 minutes and it's a 45-minute block instead of an hour, that it'll show in someone's calendar as 45 minutes?
Well,
Why
absolutely.
would I need to tell them?
Absolutely. But as I just told you, people get so used to 30-minute and hour meetings. So if you're ending this 15 minutes or 10 minutes early and they sit, so it's a meeting from 9 to 9:50, then they see it's longer than half an hour and they're going to take the whole hour without any sort of prompting. I think that's what's going to happen.
Right.
So that's it's one of those things where it takes a human touch, right? Not just let's schedule it and then get really mad if somebody keeps talking and it's 10 till.
Yeah.
Right. It's hey, we have to set that expectation. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. Cultural change. All right. So we have had this to an extent in Outlook on desktop for a while, and now it's an Outlook on the web.
Similar to the next update.
Yeah. Send later. Outlook on the web, send later, MC212344. You go to send a message, but you want to delay the sending. Yeah. Okay. I'm sending a request for leave, but I want it to be sent to my boss after I've left for the day. I am sick.
Well, the one thing that I want to point out here is, yes, we've had this on the desktop version, whatever they're calling that these days, Outlook on the desktop, Outlook for Windows. However, it's a different name. And so while the functionality is now coming to Outlook on the web, its terms are different than it is not send later. I think it's delay sending or something. Yeah,
it is delay.
So I don't know. Maybe they're going to change it in Outlook for Windows. I hope so.
Yep.
Make it consistent.
Yep. But useful. We've got another updated update, just to say that the update to the My Apps and My Account experience, which we said, what a great message. Look at all the cool resources they've got at the bottom there that show you how to use it and prepare your people. Excellent example. They're just saying that we've updated this message and we've added another video to those resources. Just, so you know.
Right.
Another update to Outlook on the web. Suggested text coming. So that's MC212345. Suggested text during composition by incorporating intelligent technology. I would think that all technology is supposed to be intelligent, but maybe some of it's pretty dumb.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. So get ready for Outlook on the web to prompt you with what you should say. If that helps you craft a message pretty quickly, then...
Right, I think that's the speed, so that, and I think people who have been using, for instance, Gmail for a while have had this, where you're typing and you say something like, it was great meeting you, and it'll say this morning or yesterday, and so you just hit tab and you keep typing. Stuff like, just gives you the ability to quickly compose and get out of email, out of that message and say what you need to say, but move on. So this is a great feature.
I wonder if, like, I think I've said this before, I wonder if the world's going to end up, relying on this so
words.
much that, everyone
same
has the same tone.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so warm and fluffy. I've had like a Gmail toned email there, I can tell. Yes. Anyway,
So,
updated feature, adding background images and effects to Teams. MC212361. This looks like it's talking about the feature that we have already received. That's the confusing part. What it's really saying, if you go further down, we're adding some policies. Again, policies. At least they haven't used the PowerShell command in the title there to say flam is what you can use to do this.
That's very descriptive, Daryl. I appreciate that. Flam. This, basically saying we have a policy now so you can control whether people can use background images and effects blur, basically. So this is how you, if you want to disable it, this is how you do it, knowing that it's going to be enabled. So you're going to have to, change this. If you want to, you can change the policy.
Yep. Policies. It's good to see that, these policies are coming in shortly after the feature. Always interesting to see that the policy doesn't come out at the same time when a feature comes out. Hey, if you want to have some control over this, here's the controls. Next update is support for Ignite in Teams as a third-party storage provider, MC212414. Haven't heard of Ignite. Doesn't mean that it's not a thing, because I don't know about it. But yeah, it's good.
It's another service being provided to us, or support being provided for that.
Along with Box, Dropbox, and G Drive and other drives.
But do you really need those things? I don't think so. Just use OneDrive.
Yeah. Bridging technology. Yep. All right. And two more. This one is it's very, very targeted, I must say. Suggested replies in French and Italian for Outlook on the Web in Europe. MC212455. Outlook on the Web will give suggested replies in French and Italian.
There you go.
In case Webster Tech, the MVP tenant, has global domination, and we have presence in France and Italy, which we've detected from the service locations that you know.
No, it's not at all. We just talked about this, the suggested replies, but now getting French and Italian, that's wonderful. I don't understand why I'm seeing it. I have no users in Europe, and so your point is very clear, I think. For some reason, this is not targeted, and it should be.
I love how the examples I've got as pictures in this message are Kwang Chang and Joyce Wing. I don't know where from. I won't make any assumptions there, but probably not from France. And just based on the location translation. Yeah, I mean, it's just translating, isn't it? I'm confused.
It is, and or at least it's showing it as it is. But if you look below the boxes that gives the suggested the suggestions, those are in the different language. Merci beaucoup.
Excellent. Okay. Finishing off with the headline, which you've seen splashed all over the news. So we know we were getting 3x3 coming. Microsoft Teams new calling and meeting experience. Such a bland title, but the meat is in there. MC212453 that will get pop-out windows.
Yeah, this is
meetings.
I'm loving this. We can quickly talk about this, but we're getting the 3x3, which gives 9 videos at once, and then yours, of course. it pops out. So getting that separate experience, I'm loving that. That's been one of my biggest complaints, is that I want to have the meeting experience as well as being working in Teams. And you can't do that currently. If you get out of the meeting to go into Teams to do something, all you see is the current speaker, window. You don't get the full meeting experience. So that's great. And then the third thing is moving the within the meeting.
These thingos.
Yeah, your buttons to turn off video, to mute, to end all of that is going to go up into the top right. I think that's amazing. And the reason why is people get in a meeting, those that are not used to it, and they go, how do I end the meeting? How do I mute myself? I don't know how. I don't see the button anywhere. And they have to move their mouse, right, for it to show up. And as well as when that shows up, it blocks stuff. So that's showing up and being there all the time, giving that notice, I think is great. It does kind of go, it takes up that whole row of your experience. So it will do
always
that.
Visible.
But it's always visible. So you will need to update training here, but I think training will go easier because those buttons will always be there. So I'm liking this update.
Yeah, it doesn't require someone to wiggle something.
Right.
Yeah, the multitasking during the meeting's a bad thing, ? Thanks, Phil. Yes, it is. No, look, where I see this being quite useful too, I'm thinking of teachers now, but also those who want to see a few faces while they're presenting something. The situation where you normally, or right now, if I wanted to show something in Teams and I'm training someone in Teams or showing a document in Teams, running someone through, I'm pulling together a brand new team and I'm trying to orient them with what the team looks like. Then I say, share my screen, everything disappears. Bring Teams back up. Okay, there's the 4 faces right now. Okay, now go back into the team. I now see the current speaker or the last active speaker in the top left-hand corner and Teams, but no one else. And that's quite a drawback when you're trying to engage with as many video faces as possible.
Right.
So popping out that window to another screen, I would have my class or my people over here in the meeting, and over here on this screen I would have the content, which I know they can see, but I'm able to engage and interact.
Yep.
That's the bonus.
I think the last thing I want to say about there's lots of great things here, but the last thing I want to say here is that it is off by default initially. So if users want to experience this new functionality, they have to turn it on, and then it will be turned on by default later, and the option for users to opt out, and then later on, it won't be able to opt out at all. It'll just be on, if that makes sense.
And that button that says turn on new meetings and calling experiences feels like it's something that's going to be used for the future too. It's like I want to have the features early whenever it's to do with meetings and calls.
Right. So June, it's coming. July, it's going to be on by default, but you can disable it. August, it'll be on for everybody. All right. It can't come soon enough because I really want it.
Yep. And that is about it. Just to say, and I will drop something in the top corner to another video. I did have a quick look at the mobile app for M365 admins on at least iOS. That has updated, and go and see a bit of commentary there. Much faster, snappier, easier to do, but still struggling a bit with the formatting of the messages. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I know we've taken you right over. I think Suzanne said much earlier we might have to bump this to an hour. Really, you don't want to listen to us for an hour talking about messages, do you?
I don't want to.
With that, I'm going to hit the outro button.